Welcome to this online lecture where we will deal with short story writing. This lecture builds on pages 250 to 252 in Blueprint B, so before you continue this lecture, have a look at those pages. This lecture will essentially deal with literary devices and not so much about structure. One important factor in creating literature is to show rather than tell the reader what is going on in the story. Make your characters act out their feelings, movements, and actions. Instead of telling the reader that one of your characters looks concerned, describe what a person who is concerned looks like, how she acts, and what she sounds like. This is a person who looks concerned. Her eyebrow is arched, her eyes are weary, her hand is brought up to her cheek, and her mouth is straight and unsmiling. And the following picture is a description of what a concerned person might look like. When I told her the news, her eyes became wary, and the smile that had been in her mouth a second ago turned into a straight line. She was concerned. Showing rather than telling allows your reader to create their own image of what a person looks like, and it's a great literary device. Another well-used literary device is planting. The Russian playwright Anton Chekhov once said that if one shows a loaded gun in the first act of a play, it should be fired in a later act. You can use planting to create drama, but it is also a way to prepare your readers of a dramatic event that will occur in your story. You will then put your readers on edge, and you will have their full attention. In the following slide, you will see a clip to illustrate planting. It's from the Hollywood film Thelma and Louise, a story about two women who intend to go on an innocent trip but end up as criminals. The clip you saw was from the beginning of the film, when the two women were packing and preparing for their trip. One of them put a gun in her bag for no apparent reason. However, we know that that gun will be fired later on in the film, and thus changing the whole story. Planting, however, does not have to be as dramatic as a gun. Planting could be something undramatic, such as a purse. Your main character is walking next to a woman who is holding her purse close to her body, almost hugging it. Perhaps there is something important in her bag. We will not know right away, but it is of importance, and we will probably find out later in the story. Towards the end of the story, after telling the reader about the many dramatic escapades in which the woman is protecting her purse with her life, you reveal to the reader that the purse contained the woman's life savings. She will then use them to buy back her childhood home, and when she shares that information with the main character, they discover that they are related. So to sum up, planting does not have to be a gun. It's used as a literary device to create drama and to catch your reader's interest. When you write your story, think about time gaps. It's impossible to write about everything that happens over the course of 2 hours, a day, 3 weeks, or an entire life. Instead of writing about everything in real time, try to pinpoint events that carry meaning to the story. Think of it as real time versus the gap principle. Here we have an example of someone who has attempted to write about a series of events in real time. The main character falls asleep on a bus next to an older woman. At one point, the older woman gets off the bus at a stop while the main character sleeps. And at the end of the series of events, the bus driver announces the next stop, the main character realizes that the older woman is gone, the main character tries to collect her things, and the main character exits the bus. Now, these pinpoints are of importance to the story, but since the writer has attempted to tell the story in real time, he has to write about what is going on in between the pinpoints as well. Main character sleeps. Main character sleeps. Main character sleeps. And main character sleeps. If you write a story in real time, your story will look something like this. After talking politely to the old woman for a while, I dozed off. The last thing I remembered before I fell asleep was her peeling an orange. Then I slept and 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 slept. All of a sudden I woke to the bus driver screaming something over his shoulder. "My stop!" Dazed, I turned to the left and saw an empty seat. The woman was gone, and so were the orange peels. I gathered as many of my things as I could and rushed out of the bus. Now, a part of this story is interesting, but a huge part of it is not, as you can see and tell. If you write your story according to the gap principle instead, you focus only on the pinpoints. Main character falls asleep next to an older woman. Main character wakes up as the bus driver announces the next stop, realizes that the woman is gone, and exits the bus. The part where the old woman gets off the bus and the main character sleeps is not mentioned, since the main character is not awake and is not aware of the event, since she is asleep. If you write your story like this, it will look like that. After talking politely to the old woman for a while, I dozed off. The last thing I remembered before I fell asleep was her peeling an orange. All of a sudden I woke to the bus driver screaming something over his shoulder. "My stop!" Dazed, I turned to the left and saw an empty seat. The woman was gone, and so were the orange peels. I gathered as many of my things as I could and rushed out of the bus. This way, you have created more dramatic tension in your story, and it will be more interesting to your reader. The fourth step I will cover is suspense. You can create suspense by including a threat, such as lack of time. One way of illustrating a lack of time and the stress lack of time will give a character is to use very short sentences. If you're really creative, you can use your short sentences to illustrate the feeling of suspense of a character. You can try to phrase your sentences so that the rhythm resembles that of a beating heart. She must get him into the trunk. The police will be here any minute now. Feet first, then legs. She heard the sirens close up on her. Number 5 on the list of literary devices is precision. Use details in your descriptions to create a vivid and realistic short story. Use adjectives and adverbs to describe what things and actions look like. Use prepositions to describe time and space. When is this? Before or after? Where is it? In front or behind? A mountain. Doesn't say much, does it? A snow-covered mountain. Says a little bit more about the environment. A snow-covered mountain in the distance. A snow-covered mountain in the distance, and behind it a limitless sky. Now the reader is fully aware of what the environment looks like and where the character is placed in relation to the mountain. Using metaphors or similes to create an image will help your readers understand and relate to the feeling you are trying to convey. He was eager to help, but his legs were like rubber. Remember the saying, a picture says more than 1,000 words. Now we only have one more step to cover, how to start your short story. Since a short story is a short story, you have to capture your reader's interest right from the start. Try to give your story a flying start and begin your story somewhere in the middle. Slam! The door shut with a bang behind her as she stormed out of the house. What has made her slam the door? Your readers won't know, but they will be intrigued. Perhaps they will know if they keep reading. And you have your readers' interest and they will continue reading your short story. Now it's time for you to put your creativity to the test. I look forward to reading your contribution. Good luck.